Welcome to JackHorny.com show.
I just put some new batteries in this thing because it keeps dying on me. I had some old batteries in, so I've reset it, so hopefully it'll record now. So, I'm just going to go over a tweet from this, I think they're an anti-porn group called Object UK or something. Now, the first thing to do is cover why people are anti-porn. It tends to be, from what I've read, split into two. You have the right-wing Christians who tend to be, well, I mean, they choose what to be anti. For some reason, they're anti-gay, even though I think there's one line in the Bible. They ignore the rest, you know. It goes on and on about pages of stoning women and stuff, but they choose to ignore that. Now, in my experience, my judgment, the people who are anti-gay, especially the right-wing Christians, tend to be gay, and it's a cover-up. But it might not be in all cases. You know, some probably may not be gay, but you know, you read about it in America, especially, and those that are really anti-gay suddenly they get caught out and found that they are gay themselves, and it's a bit like the anti-porn lot of Christians. They tend to end up with a huge supply of porn mags or something. They're usually into it more than they like to publicly claim they're anti it, but privately, I mean, the amount of people I know that are anti, they say it. I mean, I know friends of mine who are religious, and I know they've got a porn collection, and yet they'll go on and say porn's wrong and stuff. You're going, you cheeky sods. I mean, I'm not going to humiliate them by naming them. But it's amazing over the years, friends I've known who I went to school with will slag me off completely, and yet have admitted to me in private they've got porn. So that's why I get a bit irritated by a lot who go on about it like that. I mean, the other thing that irritates me about the Christian lot is that they'll spend all the time going on and preaching how God is great and how heaven's wonderful and how we're scum. And yet, you know what? When it comes to if they ever get ill, they won't go, oh, great, I'm going to die. They'll do everything to stay alive. They'll have every operation going. You know, I don't think there's many Christians that turn operations down. And they all pray to stay alive. They all say, oh, please God, don't let me die. And then when someone dies, they'll cry. I mean, it's almost as if they actually don't believe in their own religion. So if you actually believe deep down, really believed in heaven, you'd be wanting to go there. It's just the most dishonest thing going. Oh, I've got one of the dogs coming in. Come on then, little one. So she's going to make a noise. I can't be bothered stopping it. Oh, God, now all of them coming out. Ugh. Anyway. Here we go. So I'm just getting the dogs bugging me. And just a pain. You know, I can't settle down for 5 minutes without irritating me just to do this. I mean, these things don't last a couple of minutes, and yet in that time, they'll be happy sleeping all day long. The moment I do this, I have to run around and be a pain. But anyway, like I said, I mean, always amused me when I was a kid that I'd be dragged to church, and all of them, they all wanted to stay alive. It's almost as if all the Christians didn't believe in it. Then all the families that brought the kids up in this religious rubbish, they've all ended up off, well, not every one of them, but most of them seem to have ended up drugged up. Sorry about that, folks. One of the dogs has insisted sitting next to me. So you probably hear him breathing. He's like size of a house. So anyway, where was I going? Oh yeah, I'm just going on about how the Christians are. I mean, if they're quite happy preaching this religious skunk, but boy, oh boy, oh no. Well, lay down then. Lay down then. Lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Good boy, just lay down. Come on. Archie, stop being stupid all the time. Right, we'll just stick there then, and I'll just move this. Oh, God. Right, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I've just started to take a little break there because the dogs are driving me nuts, and they've all insisted on coming in, so they'll probably be in the background sniffling or whatever they're doing. You know, they get jealous, so they're having to sit here. Yes. So I've got one sat next to me. He's a massive hound, so I've probably got him breathing. And I've got another one in the background playing with something, chewing something up. So, ugh, God, I hate dogs. Give up! Okay, folks. Oh, God. Let's see if we can do this. Carry on. Right. So, the Object UK. Now, they're basically a feminist. Well, they call themselves feminists, but as I always say, feminists are basically non-existent. They're just, it's a label. Mainly, the feminists tend to be, if not always, mainly white. Yeah, a few who aren't. 100% of the time, 100% of the time, I've noticed they're all middle class. So the dogs are just licking everything. And quite reasonably well off. And not always successful. Usually they're a bit incompetent. It's been call themselves feminists, a way of justifying why they're not that clever. It's to make themselves often, I suspect, sound cleverer than they are. Clever people don't really seem to ever call themselves feminists. One or two might. But it's a sort of label. Anyone can just call themselves, oh, I'm a feminist. You know, I can call myself a feminist. It's just meaningless. It's a meaningless word, but people do it to sound, you know, I think to sound more powerful than they are. It's to give them a boost of egos, because they usually have low egos, the people who call themselves feminists. So anyway, oh God, the dogs are driving me nuts. Lay down. Lay down. The reason I've done it in here is for quiet. Might as well have done it in the other room. Oh, just lay down. Come on, lay down. You insist on being there, right in my way, which is the place I was. Look, you completely licked everything and destroyed it. I mean, this won't last 2 minutes, will it? No, stop licking that. That's the whole point. Driving me nuts now. Yeah, there's a good boy. We'll go for a walk soon. Yes. Stop being naughty. Anyway, in this tweet, it says something. Right, let me just explain a bit of background. Over the years, the feminists have completely lost the argument, and well, everyone has, on the anti-porn thing, because the only evidence, and when I say evidence, I mean university evidence, not the made-up rubbish that they usually quote, shows porn does no harm. I mean, we know over the last 5,000 years, no one's ever died from porn. Not one. Zero. It has zero harm. It's no more harmful than watching a cartoon, basically. You know, that's the harm extent. It's no more harm than watching a sci-fi film or a horror film or anything. Probably less harmful than a horror, because I think there's been a couple of murders linked to horror films. Well, I don't think anyone's actually murdered linked to porn. Although you probably say, oh, somebody has. I mean, somebody's probably, some murder out there is probably, oh, God, sorry. Right. 1, 2, 3, I've just got the dogs with Meg. So I've had to take a break. Oh, for goodness sakes. They've come in just to annoy me, basically. Chewing up the wires and everything. I can't even keep them out because I can open all the doors. So anyway, as I say, the right-wing Christians, I mean, in fact, all Christians, I mean, I think it's all a farce. Sorry, they're chewing up. Right, I'm just going to have to move them. Go on out, because you're going to knock everything over. Go on out. Yes, well, sorry. Move! Yes, go sulk then. God, I can't do anything in this house, can I? Look, you're whacking everything now. It's about the whole idea of this was a quiet room. Not, a doggy room to run around in. You only want 5 minutes. Anyway, so the let's go back to them again. So, as I was saying, feminists tend to be mainly white, middle class, blah blah blah. They don't really represent the working class. So, swallowed there. They don't tend to represent the working class. In fact, they don't. And the working class, there's very few who follow the feminist ideology for any. The reason I say that is when I was a kid, I asked my granny who had her own business if she was a feminist. Because I presume she would be. I presume she'd support it. And she said, nope. She says, none of her friends or her would ever consider supporting them. Because she said that they look down upon the working class. They don't represent the working class. They only represent the middle class. She said all the working class have always worked. You've had people going down mines. You've had women going down mines and children. Both women and children went down mines. And women and children worked in the cotton mills and so and so and so. And they all died. You know, a lot got injured or died. And yet the middle class didn't give a rat's ass about them in reality. The other thing to remember is that a lot of the feminists go on about the suffragettes, when in fact the suffragettes weren't feminists. They didn't class themselves as feminists. I don't think the feminist ideology had even started then. So you can't call them feminists. Oh, they say, oh, but they followed some of the principles. Well, you don't know, do you? You can't say X, Y and Z was a feminist if they haven't called themselves a feminist. Well, you know, they're Nazis. They could have been Nazis. And again, Nazi party hadn't started then, I don't think. That came a lot later. But you can't you can't suddenly come out with what just because it's convenient to you to call them feminists. So whenever you read about suffragettes being feminists, stick 2 fingers up in the air like that. It's just garbage. People make stuff up. So anyway, we've got these. Let me just check everything's recording after all the dogs have stood on it. Yeah, it looks like it. Gonna have to edit a lot of this junk out because of the dogs running around. So let me get back to it. Right, the argument for people anti-porn, they're not religious. I mean, like I said, the religious lot are just. Right, you might have your own religious views. I don't give a rat's ass about them. I'll respect your religion. I mean, I respect your belief that you've got religion, but it doesn't mean I respect your religion. I think people get confused by that. I don't care what your religion is. I'm happy for you to believe in anything you want, but don't expect me to follow it. That's the trouble with religious people. They think other people are supposed to go along with their beliefs. You know, because they've got... And I don't. Sorry. I'm quite happy. I mean, I don't care if you're Christian, Muslim, whatever. I mean, I'll even go along with the little holidays and stuff. You know, I don't mind doing Easter or whatever Muslim holidays are. I'll go along with it. I quite enjoy it. I'm not bothered when schools go along with it. Just as long as you don't push your ideology on me about what your beliefs are. You know. So anyway, going back to the feminists. Well, it's usually feminists who are anti-porn. The first thing to remember is that they don't really represent many people. They only represent a small minority, although in their minds they think they represent every woman going. Sadly, they don't. And they also believe that they have the right to tell other women what to think and do, which is ironic. On one hand, they'll be moaning about men telling women what to say and think, and then they turn around and say, oh, it's wrong for men to, but it's correct for us to. No, it's not. So the idea, so in the past, they've tried to quote things as facts that are made up. A lot of the time they just make things up and then it turns out it's codswallop. But I'll give you an example, because it's always good giving examples. They'll claim that all the porn sites in the UK are trafficking women. They're not. Not name one if they are. Name one single one. So I've seen that. I've heard that before. And I've heard they're all trafficking. The nightclubs traffic women and stuff. Well, prove it. Prove all this. You know, nightclubs that are still open apparently trafficking women openly. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I think they'd all be in prison if they were committing such a heinous act. And I'd be supporting you on that. I'd be complaining If I saw a nightclub or a website trafficking women, guess what? I'll condemn them. You know, and I'll name them. That's all I'm asking. Just name them. I mean, I want to know, maybe because I could be working with these people. You know, I don't want to be promoting the sites that you claim are trafficking women. But it almost sounds like you just made it up as garbage. Because you have. You made it up. Or you've heard your friends say it, so you've repeated it as fact. So that's one example. The other example is whenever they come out with anything, it's usually not a university study, it's usually some Christian study, made up facts. I mean, there's a lot of made up.com facts that the anti-porn, because it doesn't, all the evidence from universities has stated porn does not harm. As I say, not a single person's died from it in the last 5,000 years. You know, unlike alcohol and drugs. In fact, even putting your trousers on, several people die each year of that. That's more dangerous. In fact, if you were to list all the things all the activities ever, I'd say porn is probably in the bottom of the list of dangerous things. Probably the least dangerous thing you could ever do is sit there and watch it. I don't think it's any more harmful than watching a cartoon. Realistically speaking, I mean, there's no logic. You'd have to explain the logic if a cartoon it can be less harmful than watching porn in reality, because I don't see what the difference is, or reading it. I mean, when they're going about porn, they never really state what they're on about. They're on about photographs, films, books, magazines, what? You got to remember, porn's gone back since Stone Age, man. I mean, you can see there's cave walls with porn on. The Bible's full of porn. I mean, the Romans wrote loads. Yeah, society survived. But they always come out and pretend the latest version is about the internet that's suddenly now become harmful. Cobblers. Even, you don't have to be that bright to think about it. Once you think about it, you realise it's cobblers. So anyway, the anti-porn people have stopped coming out with facts. They don't like facts because it proves their case wrong. So they now have to come out with emotional beliefs or made up garbage that sound roughly good. So in this tweet, it says something about, I think it's in response, someone's written a book probably or something about the porn industry or something. It's something to do with the sex industry. And it's probably, I suspect, positive. And obviously they don't like that. Oh, we don't like to see anything positive. So anything positive we have to dismiss. I mean, the other thing they do is dismiss women who like porn as cranks and mentally ill. I mean, they actually say women who are in porn are mentally ill. Or those who like porn. I mean, I can post those tweets as well if you ever want. I posted them before. So I can put back that one up. And that's by the same group. Anyway. What was I saying? Oh, I've lost my thread there. Oh yeah, so back to it. So they can't do facts anymore, so they make up stuff. Rubbish. So in this tweet it says something like, in response to this book, because I can't remember exactly how they worded it. I'll post it there. Children who went up the chimneys also are grateful for the jobs. Well, oh no, I think the words was made to go up chimneys or something, that's the huge difference. Those children were made to go up chimneys. They had no choice, or they would have starved to death. Well, the women and men who go into porn or whatever it is, stripping, they've chosen to do it, and that's the difference. They've chosen. Maybe you don't like it, and that's fine. You know, I have no problems with you saying you don't like. I don't like football. It bores me. I mean, I had this debate about boxing the other day because my friend was on about somebody who married somebody who was boxer or something, and I says, I think boxing's disgusting. Why would you want a relative of yours going out getting brain damage? I wouldn't. I don't care about the money. It's just a disgusting sight. The dog's chewing something. I mean, that's the thing. But I ain't going to stop others. I'll say it. I'll say this. all the time. I find boxing a disgraceful sport, if you call it sport. I don't like boxing, but you know what I mean. That's as far as it goes. I'll say it. I'll stand by that. But I'm not going to say ban it in that regard. I mean, that's if people want to go into boxing and get brain damage because they want the money. Well, they know the risks. They know the risk. I think it's sad, but I mean, that's to me is what you should be. If you really cared about people, why aren't you complaining about boxing? I mean, women do boxing. Sure, you'd be complaining about if you're bothered about women and not men, which I think a lot of these feminists don't seem to give a hoot about men. Because whenever they moan about porn, they never mention men, such as in gay porn or anything. It's always the suggestion is that it's made by men, only featuring women, which is cobblers. I mean, you know what I mean? They dismiss the fact that women film it and women own the companies, and you've got webcam models who basically make up 99.9% of the porn on the web because they're making it themselves. But anyway, you'd think they'd be more caring towards, say, women boxers. That's what I'd be surprised. I mean, that's what I don't understand. Why aren't they bothered about people who actually get harmed? I mean, these women boxers are getting paid good money to get brain damage, just as the men are. Surely that's where the harm comes. I mean, so what if a woman gets her boobies out? She's not going to die from getting her boobies out, is she? I mean, in reality, she's not going to die if she has a willy inside her. But she will if she gets her brains kicked in by another person hitting her. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Anyway, I just thought I'd point this out and how nonsense it all is. I mean, there is a lot of things out there that do harm people. But if you know the risks, I mean, my view is, well, if you know the risks, and that's the important thing. It's important to point the risks out. I mean, I don't like a lot I mean, basically, all sport bores me. But I don't watch it. But I'm not banning it. I don't want to ban it. Well, I mean, if it got taken off TV, I won't complain. But I've never demanded it banned. I mean, I'll just choose. Sorry, the dog's eating. Oh, stop yawning in front of it. I choose not to watch football. I choose not to watch rugby. I mean, I think it's the most dullest thing going. I mean, I choose not to watch any sport. All sport bores me. I'm just going to move the mic, see if it squeaks. Oh, that hasn't worked, has it? There we go. Just see. So dogs trying to chew the wire. But sport bores me. I don't want to watch sports, but I mean, you know, it makes me laugh when we've got the news on at the moment. It's about women's football, and everyone's pretending they're watching it. They're not. I mean, most of them won't even watch football anyway. You've got all these middle class people pretending they're into football. They're not. I doubt if any of them are. They wouldn't watch it even if it were men trying to pretend they're bothered about women's football. I bet most of them couldn't even name a female footballer. They'll all be googling it now, going, "Oh, look, I can." No, you couldn't be far though. I mean, it is the dullest thing going. My stepmom used to play it. God, it bored the hell out of me standing there. Hated it. I mean, all sports dull. I mean, I can't see why anyone wants to watch somebody else run around for an hour or whatever it is, regardless of the sport. It is boring. No, well, I'll have to end this because the dogs are trying to pull the house to bits. But anyway, my point is, saying that kids were liked having the job of going up a chimney is, as an anti-porn thing, is nonsense when women and men do go into porn voluntary and choose to. So try and think of something else. And by the way, if you're anti-porn, can you chat to? Oh, sorry, the dog's shaking. Can you chat to women who actually do porn? Get their view, or do you dismiss them? Because that's the problem with this lot of anti-porn lot. They choose to ignore those who work in porn. So why don't you actually ask those women, or instead of dismissing them as mentally ill, which you seem to do? So that seems to be the view. They've got some problems. They've been molested as children or something. Because in your mind, you don't think women can enjoy sex or whatever. I mean, apparently, I mean, I think the studies are, oh hang on, I'll just move the mic again, almost half the people watching porn are women. And in your mind, I suspect you'll see that as they're all mentally ill, won't you? If you're anti-porn. So that's me done. It's probably got a lot of background noise because of the dogs, but still, hey ho.